Welcome back to Heart, Mind, Emotion. Today, Robert sits down to do an interview with Alvin Brown.
No, it's a conversation.
My mistake. How you feeling about it?
Stressed out since 10 o'clock this morning.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it because I really don't know Alvin Brown.
You know now.
I guess you're right, Mr. Brown. Oh, I'm just trying to create a really good introduction here for you.
That was perfect.
I love that.
I want to get a copy of that.
You want a copy of my introduction? Well, that's fantastic.
No.
Right, I knew that. Well, anyways, folks, buckle in, put your headphones on, and enjoy the episode.
All right, welcome to Heart, Mind, Emotion. Today, I am joined by my guest, Alvin Brown. Alvin has, what a resume Alvin has. Alvin trained in martial arts and received a black belt. Alvin became an amateur boxer. Alvin was a competitive and a professional dancer. Alvin received a degree in manual osteopathy, and that wasn't good enough. He went out and just received a degree for psychology. He opened the Center for Healing and Peak Performance in Pickering, Ontario. See, this is me being all nervous, even with you, Alvin.
Mm-hmm.
Alvin wrote a book, great book. You can see it over his shoulder, right here, Journey to Personal Greatness, Mind, Body, and Soul. And among all the other things that Alvin has done, Alvin's my friend, Alvin is my mentor, and I'm very happy to have him on the show today. Thank you so much, Alvin.
Great. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to share the message. So I appreciate you.
Excellent. So, Alvin, you were here with me at the beginning of this journey where Heart, Mind, Emotion came to be. And, you know, we almost, as a group, a collaborative thing, pulled it out of my mind and what's it going to be and where is it going to go. And it did start out to be something that I wanted to inspire men to be vulnerable and live large. So, I got to glance down at my notes because I want to make sure I get everything. But the first thing I want to ask you is, as much as I want to see men living large and living vulnerably, the podcast is sort of morphed to be really for anybody and everybody. So I want to ask you, Alvin, what is it, do you think, that keeps people from pursuing what their heart passions is? And instead of pursuing their passions, they stay in their comfort zone, which we'll call mediocrity.
Exactly. So great questions to start out with. And I think a lot of the reason why people don't go after, and here's the thing, a lot of people, when you ask them what they want, they'll say, I don't know what I want. I really believe everyone knows what they want secretly, but they have a lot of voices speaking to them in front of what they want, saying, who are you? You're not good enough. You can't stop what you're doing right now. Who says blah, blah, blah. You'll never be, that person's more talented. There's a ton of noise between what you truly want in your heart and what you think you deserve to have at the end of the day. So I really do believe a lot of people know what they want. And the reason why they don't go for it is vulnerability. What you want, we could all do a job, J-O-B, work for somebody and do work that isn't close to us, that isn't close to our heart. We can do that for a whole lifetime. A lot of people do, because it doesn't calls for any vulnerability. It doesn't call for you to be brave. It doesn't call for you to be courageous, vulnerageous. It doesn't call for you to do anything but show up and get a paycheck. So that's easier, quote unquote, to do on the surface, but it's killing you inside, but it's easier to do. So going out there and showing me everything, like your passion, this signature on the world, showing that to somebody leaves you naked, vulnerable. And if someone says something, which there will be, that's how it works, crabs in a barrel, they will say something about it, whether it be good or bad. It hurts you more by getting out there. So it's quote unquote easier, it seems, to stay small, play small, take a lot off the table. That way, if someone says anything, so what? But to really put your passion out there and show your cards and then get hurt, no, no thanks. A lot of people stay small. So that's why I think a lot of people live in that mediocrity zone where, because it takes a lot to stretch.
Mm-hmm. I love that, Alvin. And that's why I was even saying off the top, I mean, you've been my friend for a year and a half. I mean, you've been my mentor for a year and a half. You're somebody who I see as an equal, but who is paving a way ahead of me. And yet I'm daily nervous when I do my podcast and do my show, because it's exactly what you said. It's me putting myself out there. Yeah. This is all me. This is not me going to a job, being told, okay, Robert, you got to go do this. I actually have to think for myself. I have to create for myself.
Yeah.
And it really does change things.
Yeah, it begins and ends with you. If something's wrong with the show, if there's a critique and you work for somebody, say, go talk to the boss.
Yeah.
Right? You are the boss.
Yeah. And it's awesome that you even say about the critique, because I'll put out there on the podcast, hey, you know what, shoot us an email or send us a message, because I want to hear good feedback, bad feedback. And I've actually heard from a few listeners very polite, constructive criticism, suggestions, and it's presented wonderfully. But again, it hurts a little bit, because it's all me. It's not like I can say, well, the boss told me to do it that way.
That's right.
It's just me. I mean, when I say I, obviously it's Chris, my co-host, and I, but this concept came from my little mind. So
yeah, exactly.
Alvin, the next thing I want to ask is regarding that sort of, and following up on it, what would you say to people who are measuring their own successes or failures against those of, well, let's be real, the people in the spotlight, as in you're looking at actors and actresses and people in musicians or people in the spotlight, these social media influencers and such. And I mean, we've had that conversation on social media. Everybody only puts out there the good.
1 minute.
I mean, I don't mean to generalize, but you know, they're going to put out the good. They're not going to put out all the struggles. So what would you say to the people that are saying, well, Alvin, you don't understand. I really want to pursue this goal or dream, but so-and-so, well, they've had it easy, or look what they've already done. I can't do that.
Now, I don't know of anybody who's had it easy, and no one has had it easy. Even if you were given, the road has been paved for you, let's say, what will tend to happen is, one, you don't appreciate the journey as much because it was just given to you. You're thrusted into that position. So you won't appreciate the journey. And there's been a lot of stories or scenarios where they say, well, if you took money away from a wealthy person, self-made wealth, if you took it away from them, they could make that money back like this. Why? Because it's not about the money, it's what they became to earn that money, to earn the success. If you earned it and grind away at the success, you will know how you did it. You'll do it that much quicker because you've learned. It's the beauty of becoming something is that you're learning to become someone who earned that greatness, who earned it. So, you know, when you're asking the question about that, imitating or looking at somebody else, the FOMO, the new term now that we've developed because of social media, where we're scrolling through and we're always thinking, a lot of people, that, man, they got it together. Look at me. I'm a mess. They must have it together. And when you look 99.5% of the times, you'll read behind the curtain and it's not even close to that. So I would say run your own race. Here's the thing. There'll never be anybody like Robert. And I can't do what Robert does. Robert has a quirky way of doing this thing that's Robert that makes it work. I can't do it. And why should I want to do it? The world is looking for authenticity. We crave for it ourselves. So when we see it in somebody and they're proud of it, we kind of want to know what their secret is. What's going on? Why are you so proud of being who you are? Is there something I don't know? Did you do some kind of program or how? And this is why we will pay people who are unique a ton of money. Although we complain about how much they're getting, all these celebrities and people are getting all this money and why should they, why the one person's getting. Well, we pay them anyways, even though we complain. Athletes get 30 million, 40 million a year. How does a quarterback get almost $500 million in 10 years to play football? Why? Because he's special. He's expressing his gifts. And if he was trying to be like Tom Brady, and if he's trying to be like everybody else, he wouldn't be special. He wouldn't get the money he's getting. So yeah, it's worth it to be unique. It's worth it to step out and express your greatness. And it comes with vulnerability though, so that a lot of people don't do it. But it's really beneficial to be yourself. But that's easy to say because yeah,
I
not
like
easy to
that.
do.
I like that answer, Alvin, too, because as you were saying it, what I immediately thought about when you're talking about being authentic is everybody wants to stand out from the crowd. Everybody wants to be different and be an individual. Again, I'm speaking to you, and it's generalizations. We'll discuss that later. But
Yeah,
people want to stand out from the crowd and be an individual, but yet they also seem so withdrawn of going, but if I go against the grain, what will they think of me?
right.
And it's,
Yeah.
to me, it's
I'm
such
gonna
a sad thing.
I'm gonna throw something in here real quick. I'm writing down so I don't forget why you're saying it. I think it's an army quote, if I'm not mistaken. I heard it was from the army. I don't know if it's the Navy, Army in the US, but they say everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing, right? Everyone would love to get to this nirvana, this place, this heaven, this where everything's beautiful. But no one, but you know what? You gotta die first. You want to do that? No, no, I don't. So how do you want what they want if you're not willing to die for it? Die for your cause. So, you can't have both.
Absolutely. All right. Well, if you're putting out a quote like that, then I'm going to throw out a couple quotes that are actually yours that I really liked. One of them is actually from your book. And your quote is, "Life is much too short to settle and die with your music still in you." When I read that, I was like, oh, I need a highlighter. That is so awesome. You want to expand on that?
Yeah, that actually came. Now I don't even know if it came from Wayne Dyer. So, we stand on the shoulders of giants that have gone before us. So that I got a little taste of that from Wayne Dyer. Now, whether Wayne Dyer got it from someone else, that's out there. But either way, we stand on the shoulders of giants. So what that simply means is that every single person has a certain music in them, and no one wants to be on their deathbed and find out that I didn't even start the chord. I didn't even sing a bar. I am not. When I listen there, you will never, by the way, you'll never get anywhere. There's no destination, by the way. Let's just get that out of the way. There's no get there. So there is no place to get to. We are a work in progress. But all I know is when I go, my music will be playing. It won't be just gonna get started. I'll be in the midst of my concert, my album. I won't be sitting on the sideline going, one day I'll write the song. No, I'm gonna be singing it. So don't die with your music soul playing.
I love that, Alvin. And you know what? I don't doubt that with you, because off the top, I was saying a few of your accolades, and I know that's just a tip of the iceberg on the things you've done and the things you plan to continue to do. So I absolutely love that. And the other quote I wanted to bring back up to you is one of the first things I heard you say, probably about a month after I met you. You said, "Don't tell me you're great in the sunshine. Show me you're great in the darkness." And I remember you wrote it. I was like, oh, you said, I gotta write that down right away. I love that. To me, it's self-explanatory. But again, would you expand on it?
Definitely. No, those are some great points you're having me remember. A lot of us, again, when every Tuesday night, we hold our mastery group. And I always say it's almost like martial arts. When I did martial arts in the gym, they say, okay, I'm going to punch you with my right arm. I'm going to punch at you with my right arm. I want you to block it with your left hand. And we're going to practice that a few times. And you do it, and finally you get to where you're blocking. Well, that's nice. Now, go out. When I used to bounce, I remember the first time I got in an altercation when I was bouncing. The guy came up, and I thought, I'm pretty good. I'm black belt. I was doing some things. I had confidence in myself. However, under the heat of the moment, I froze, and I did some things. And I don't know what I did. I did some things, but luckily my things that I did were fast enough that it scared him away and he didn't bother. However, when I came to, I didn't do anything. I just scared him. So again, where are you practicing? Reading all these books, listening to this audio, going to the concerts or the seminars for a weekend. You go in a retreat, 7 days. You go up in the mountains of wherever. I had a person I knew did that. They went away for a year to Bali to find themselves. They're in bliss. They came back to this world, couldn't function, could not function. They had to leave again because they just couldn't deal with it. So the best thing I think you can do is to do the work on yourself, but get back into society, get challenged and overcome that. And then you have mastered it. Otherwise, it's just talk. It's just talk. You and I could sit here and you could interview me and I could tell you all these great things, but come interview my family. Come interview the people close to me and have them tell you, you know, he's full of, right? So that's what I always measure it by. If you're gonna see me in the mall, I always tell my kids this. If they're doing anything and they think they can go outside and do it, and I'm gonna be different, good luck. If I'm doing it in the house, I'm gonna do it outside. Because you know, if it doesn't work outside, it won't work. It shouldn't work in the house either. So wherever you see me, I always aim to be authentic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that. And again, it's great because I did jot down a couple of things to ask you, talk to you about, and I knew this was going to happen as we speak. Things are going to pop up. So when you're talking about that, again, don't tell me you're great in the sunshine, show me you're great in the darkness. And you're talking about repetition, practice, 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 which forced me or reminded me to think, which I think is an important thing to touch upon. Discipline, practice, practice, practice. And when I think discipline, I think about the 4 C's you talk about. Would you like to touch upon the 4 C's? Because again, that's just, for me, if you're pursuing a goal or a passion or dream, those 4 C's are so important.
Yeah, huge. Great question. I'm gonna before we go into it, I'm gonna go with something you said: practice, 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 and discipline. When we see a celebrity, an athlete, say running, sprinting, Usain Bolt, a person like that runs, you know, in under 9 seconds. 9 seconds, but he's trained 8 years, 12 years, 4, I don't know, pick a number, but it doesn't match up to 9 seconds. It's way more the boring stuff where nobody sees him. He's got no one going, no crowds, you know, nothing, zero. No one's stroking his ego. He's grinding. No one's watching. So you must be able to give up instant gratification and delay it to one day see potentially, and maybe not. That's why you got to enjoy the process. You got to give it up to see the outcome, because the goal pales. It pales in comparison to the journey. The goal, because, you know, Robert, when you think about the things you've achieved in the past, they pale compared to when you wanted it. When you wanted it, man, you couldn't go to bed. You just, you saw it and you're so excited. Then you get it. Most of the people listening, think about the times when you got your degree. I don't know, you got some accolades, you got the perfect job you wanted. Remember those times up to the interview, how you were like so excited, the phone rang and you're like, you pick it up, waiting, or the letter comes in the mail, or the best. Then after you've been at it for a few months, you lose the passion. So enjoy the journey is what I'm getting at. So on to the question of the 4 C's. Yeah, 4 C's are crucial to seeing anything come to fruition. First of all, you need clarity. Clarity, you can't hit a target that you can't see. And I find clarity is a dynamic thing. What Robert wanted when Robert was 20, he was clear about what he wanted. But Robert, at 3 decades later, 30 decades later, 3 decades later,
easy.
Robert, yeah, exactly. Exactly, the oldest man in the universe, but 3 decades later, Robert wants something different. So the clarity has to change. So the clarity is dynamic. it changes. So you must develop clarity. What do you want? And by the way, that's the toughest question you can ask anybody. What do they want? And I don't mean, when I ask that question, I don't want you to tell me I want to be happy. Happy is a vague, that's shooting in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
What does it even mean to be happy? What does it mean? Define it. So first thing. Second, you need courage, because life takes courage. It really does. For some people, courage is even just getting out of bed to face the world again, right? Some people, it's, again, putting out your podcast. That took courage. Simple stuff, right? For some people, it's no big deal, but for some, it's huge. Hitting that button on the first post anybody ever made, they're trembling. They may even just delete, all right? So courage, it takes courage. So clarity, courage. Then you need commitment. And commitment means that if I say boo, you're not going to run. You're committed. If you post something for 6 months to a year and you get like 2 views, no comments, nobody cares, don't stop. Keep going. Or maybe you get bad comments. Use them as feedback. All right. And the last one is consistency, because consistency is different than commitment. Consistency is showing up every single time, every day, creating a routine, creating a habit, and showing up. And the funny thing is, at the base of that, if I do it as a pyramid, at the base is consistency. And if you're consistent, guess what? You build commitment. If Robert ever stops posting podcasts for a month, you lose the commitment. All right? And then he'll lose the courage. Then he won't be clear about what he wants anymore. It goes, you can reverse on that. So that's the 4 C's. The 4 C's is being clear, having courage, being committed, and being consistent.
Mm-hmm. I like the consistent part too, because momentum is it's an easy thing to gain, and it's an easy thing to lose.
Easy. Once you stop, a body in motion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Which is great that you brought that up, because it literally brings me into the next thing I wanted to ask you and touch upon was, again, you and I spoke on different occasions about, quote, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. And so I believe in that, but I've also mentioned to you, and, we've had that, be prepared to get what you wish for. Because you know what? I shared that with you. The previous guest I had before you was Shanti Branch. That was me throwing a Hail Mary. I don't think this will happen. And I sent a few messages, and he messaged back, I'd love to be on your show. And I was like, uh-oh. I wished for something and I got it. And I really wasn't prepared. And, on one of the, whatever it was, a few weeks back at a mastery evening with you, I shared that with the group saying, hey, I wanted this thing. It happened. It was great, but it scared the crap out of me, because it was a passion. It was a passionate wish that I put out there, but I didn't think it would happen. So anyhow, I'm rambling on. Please, Alvin, go upon that. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. And I know you said before, be prepared to get it.
Yeah, exactly. That is key, because sometimes success, nothing fails like success. I see a lot of people want to rush the process. I opened up my Instagram and my business and only had 2 people show up. Or I put up my seminar, I got the hall, and 5 people showed up. Well, work with 5. Because you know why? 500 and you screwed up. That's 500 people to go away and say, oh my goodness, that wasn't the best thing I've ever seen. Because your first time out the gate, there might be some errors. You really need some time to mature and to get better at marketing, to get better at the show itself, if you have never done it before. So although we're crying, some people, that, not enough, I didn't have enough, it didn't, I wanted more, do you? Are you ready? Are you mature enough? It's almost like take a young person who, I want to be an adult. I want all this stuff. You sure you want all of what an adult is about? And I kind of want to go back to when I was driven to school or driven to where I'm going, and somebody wakes me up, right, and have breakfast ready for me, and my clothes, my dress. People pay money for that nowadays, right? That's called a personal assistant, a dresser. I mean, rich people pay money for that. Now you get that. So again, you have to mature. You have to mature into the thing you're doing. Don't rush it, because nothing feels like success. Be careful what you wish for. All the fame, the fortune, we've seen it. I don't even have to go through it because everyone's seen it. Everyone's seen the star who fails, the celebrity who completely falls apart under the pressure of the lights and the pressure of being have to be somewhere and manage so many people, and people pulling at them all the time for their time, and they have no time for anything, not an hour in the day. They're rushing. So be careful. Enjoy the ride and really work at that maturity piece.
Yeah.
So
it really goes back to the old phrase that before you run, you have to walk, and before you walk, you got to crawl, and before you crawl, you have to try.
Don't rush them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't rush them.
And everything in their own time.
On that note too, it's almost like when you bring that up, think about if you were, when you let your kid skip crawling. I'm in the health and wellness field, and I tell you what, we have heard and I've seen where if you allow your child to skip the crawl piece, they're going to have issues with coordination later on because they didn't wire in the nervous system. Because that's what crawling does. It allows them to wire the nervous system and build that the nervous system they need for walking. If you rush that, it's not going to be right.
Yeah, absolutely. So continuing on then, somebody's going to come to you, Alvin, and say, you know what, Alvin, this is, I've looked within myself, and I looked at my clarity, and I know what I want. This is what I want, Alvin. But I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start, or I'm afraid to start. What are you going to say to that person?
I'm going to go to the Martin Luther King quote. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Because sometimes you know what you want, and just backwards engineer, how are you going to get there? And remember, we go back to all of what we just said. You need some time to mature, to become the leader who can lead a big company. If you think about Amazon, Jeff Bezos, that's a massive company. I think he's touching, either he or Apple is touching on $1 trillion net worth, company all over the place. That Jeff Bezos now could not be the Bezos, I don't know how long Amazon's been around, 20 years? I'm not even sure.
I think it's 21 years, actually. I saw
21 years,
on social media post showed a picture of him in his little office with looks like a crappy little homemade banner. So it was 21 years ago.
Okay, 21 years, exactly. And now we're looking at him and we want to be like him? Come on. You want the lawsuits, you want the everything he's gone through, the firing your first person, getting the loans you need. No thanks. No thanks. I had the opportunity, I had the opportunity to do some security for Tony Robbins. And, as a personal development enthusiast and a speaker, it looks sexy, right? Thousands of people on stage and he's just feeling it. He's rocking the crowd. Of course, everyone who's done that said, wow, I'd love to, right? But I had the chance to do security for him, and I saw how he flowed. No thanks. No thanks. Way too busy for me, for my style. I like to stop and introspect every so often. I'm an introvert, so I like that introverted, and he might be too. But he was busy every minute of the day that I was with him. He was on a phone call. He flew a private jet in. Then once he's finished, he was going to fly out again to go. No, I like a little bit of downtime. So it made me check myself.
It's great too, as we're talking, it reminded me of so many other things I've learned in the past, and it touches upon, you're saying with Jeff Bezos, do you really want that? And this is one thing from you. I met Chuck Jacoby, former Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl winner, and with his NLP training, and of course yours, what I learned so much from Chucky, of course, but one of my favorite things was, I'm living the Robert Punk experience. It's never been lived before. It'll never be lived again. So why am I going to compare my journey to yours or to his or to Jeff Bezos or Tony Robbins or anybody? And even as you're saying all that's talking about your time with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is prepared to deal with Tony Robbins because it's his experience. We're going to look at somebody else. I'm going to watch the things you do, and I'm going to go, I couldn't do what Alvin does. Well, I don't need to. I need to do what I do. That's my purpose. So
Yeah,
I mean, I
100%.
like that. I like how that goes.
Me
Um,
too.
I did an episode a while back, and I'd love your take on this here. I did an episode called "Are You the Victor or the Victim of Your Life?" And
Mm.
again, I've been rereading your book because I absolutely love the book. And so, what I want to ask: Are you the victim? Or are you the victor? What would you say to somebody, or how can somebody go about changing their internal dialogue to make that mental shift to be, instead poor me, or instead of why me, why not me? Because I'm sure that in your practice, I know people are coming in to your office and they're doing the why me, Alvin.
Yeah. Okay, great question. I think the phrase "why" is one of the most debilitating questions on the planet, because you can never find out a reason. Why did someone die?
Hmm.
Unfortunately, they did. And why did that person leave me?
Mm-hmm.
The brain will look for a lot of reasons why, if you're counting on it, and it'll usually be negative. So here's the thing about victor or victim. We must take 100% responsibility for our life. Okay? Because if I give Robert 0.05%, let's say I'm being really courageous and I say, you know what, it's my fault, but I'm only going to take 99.5. 0.5 is Robert. Well, I just give away my power. Even if I give you 0.001, I just give away my power. That means I can't fully change. If I gave you 0.01001%, I can't change then, because you own 0.001.
Mm-hmm.
You own it. I can't fully change. So then I'm going to say that. So I can't even give you one. I got to take 100%. So, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's my decisions that's going to change. If Robert did something to me, either I won, as I say, fool me once. Everyone's allowed to fool you once. Fool me twice. That's on you. Fool me 3 times. Your third time up, I'm thinking you're loving this. This is this is a codependency here.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this is the way I look at it. I gotta take responsibility 100%. There's a certain time in your life when you began life, it's out of your control, because you're born. You can't control where you're born into, and you don't know enough yet.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. But there's a point when you go, okay, I know enough. I'm strong enough. I can make a move.
Mm-hmm.
And then make the move. Have the courage to make that move.
Mm-hmm. You're at where you are in your life because of choices that you made. That's the bad news. But the good news is you can be where you want in your life with choices that you make.
That's right. And just make them. But again, the C word, courage. It's courage.
You know what? Say it again: clarity, courage, commitment,
Mm-hmm.
and consistency.
Yeah.
Listeners, you got to write that down. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, Alvin, when that was first presented to me, the first one, clarity,
Mm-hmm.
that itself takes courage.
Yeah.
To say to yourself, never mind the masses, never mind the crabs in the bucket that want to keep me in this mediocre state. Yeah. I want something great, which is my version of great, because my version of great is different than your version of great.
Yeah.
But I find sometimes for people to accept that clarity, to look in the mirror and admit to themselves, you know what, this is what I really want. I've been playing small my whole life. Yeah. But this is what I really want to go after. Yeah. So
the mirror.
I mean, I certainly don't disagree with the clarity, courage, commitment, consistency. Mm-hmm. But it's almost, to me, it's like courage, clarity, and then courage again. Get the courage to at least admit it to yourself. If you can't admit it to yourself, how are you going to even go on from there?
The mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that's such a wonderful thing. I talked about your book. I love your book. I've read it before. I told you it's one of the best things I've read.
It.
I'm rereading it, not because we are doing this. I'm rereading it because, as you know, I have in my library of books, there are certain books that are must-haves, must-go-tos, and must-rereads, reminders, whatever, because we forget. Mm-hmm. And I like to read. I've
Yeah.
seen over your shoulder always the massive library you have. I mean, you've contributed to my library. Thank you very much. But I would ask you this off the top of your
Appreciate
head.
it. All right, job's done.
Yeah, your top 2, 3, 4, whatever, off the top of your head, what are some of those books that you say to people? Look, at these are absolute non-negotiable must reads.
Hmm. Yeah.
Maybe that's.
First of all, anything Napoleon Hill,
Mhm.
Think and Grow Rich, The Laws of Success. So anything Napoleon Hill. The other person that changed my life, really and truly, is Robin Sharma.
Mhm.
Robin Sharma, the monk who sold his Ferrari. For some reason, don't ask me why. Maybe it was a time in my life, other than the book is well written, but maybe it was time like that book has a major impact on me. Um, there's so many authors I could pick from though. Og Mandino and The Greatest Salesman in the World is another one that I loved at the end of the day. So there's Napoleon Hill, Robin Sharma, Og Mandino, and if you want to talk a book that shifted my mindset around money, it would be, and this is one, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. But again, the list of books go on and on. That was Wayne Dyer. I loved Wayne Dyer at one point. I ate up a lot of Wayne Dyer, his old book, The Erogenous Zones and so on. And all, so yeah, some old classics that I used to read. I don't as much anymore. I'm more into, I still reread, like you have said, and I appreciate you saying that about my book, because that's why somebody will write something if they can inspire just one. So, and I'm blessed, and so I reread Think and Grow Rich every year, and I listen to his audio, and then my mentor, I can't forget my mentor, Dr. Tom Hill, Living at the Summit.
Mhm.
That was another one. Now he's been my mentor for 15 years. So yeah, there's so much I could go on, Robert. But the top three, if you want me to narrow them down, it would be anything by Robin Sharma, Napoleon Hill, Wayne Dyer. Okay, I'll leave him in there because, Tony Robbins. I mean, it could go on, but yeah.
That's a bit of a selfish question for me. I kind of like that because,
Yeah.
as I said, whenever we have the opportunity to Zoom, I was like, "Could you reach over your shoulder? You grab this book or you grab that book?"
Yeah.
And a lot of the ones you grab aren't even ones that you mentioned. I
Right.
will add, though, as if Robin Sharma needs more plugs from you and I, but
Right.
the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, I agree, fantastic book.
Yeah.
But for anybody reading that, keep in mind that it is first in a series of monk books.
Mhm.
There's The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari,
Yeah.
then Discover Your Destiny with the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. There is
Yeah.
Family
The
Wisdom
Saint,
with
the
the Monk.
Surfer.
Yeah, and that's Sharma, but I'm the
Yeah.
monk themselves. And then there's
Yeah.
letters from the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I think it's the 4 in
Right.
that particular
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of these books are almost saying the same thing. But
Same.
which one speaks to you? I mean, I agree with you. I absolutely love
Yeah.
Sharma, and
Yeah.
I love that stuff. But you know what? You're on the show today, so I'm going to talk again about your book, Journey to
Yeah.
Personal Greatness, Mind, Body, and Soul. Oh, put it right up
Awesome.
there.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Love it.
I strongly recommend
Love
it. Anybody. What I loved about your book, Alvin, because I really do believe in it. The 18 inches from my head to my stomach, from head to my heart, whatever, they're
Mhm.
aligned. And I know head to heart, yes,
Right.
but when I'm saying head to stomach,
Yes.
things I feed my physical body affect my mind in the way I think, and the way I'm thinking
Yeah.
affects what I'm feeding the body. And what
Yeah.
I love about your book with the subtitle heading Mind, Body, and Soul, how you actually go into each aspect of here's your mind, here's how your mind is working and why. Here's your body,
Yeah.
and here's why your body is doing with what it's doing. Here's your soul, your being, your entity. And I really like the way you pulled it all together, which again is why I mean, your book stays on my coffee table all the time. That's my coffee table book
Love
for
it.
people to come in and go, what's that? I go, oh, hey, you got to read this. This guy's fantastic. So
Love it. Awesome. Appreciate it.
anyhow, so having said that,
Love
Alvin, this is a big part of the reason I wanted to have you on the show today, because you know what? Yes, you are my mentor. You are my friend. You're somebody I admire. I even love that you have just touched upon your mentor, Dr. Tom Hill, for 15 years, because I think it's important for people to recognize that, you know what, the people you're already looking up to are looking up to somebody else. I'm standing on
Yes.
your shoulders to learn and grow, but you're standing on Dr. Tom Hills, who stood on. You know,
Jim
these are
Rohn and
absolutely the people who've paved the way for me.
yeah.
And, you know, myself doing this podcast, myself breaking out of my comfort zone and creating this podcast is to hopefully inspire somebody to meet the right person. I mean, among all the notes, I mean, you can't see my desk in here. That's calculated. I got all these notes for Alvin Brown, but it's the old phrase that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Absolutely.
I've had that conversation with you about the day I was fortunate enough to meet you at a speaking engagement. And after all the speakers, there was, you know, people can go get some light snacks and refreshments. I said to my wife, I need to go meet that guy. And myself going over there to meet you was a very pivotal point in my life and in my journey to becoming who I am and my journey into connecting with my teacher. So, you know, I'll take this opportunity for myself, Alvin, thanking you for all you've done for me and for joining me, of course. And I'll save a little bit of the credit. Yes, you've done a lot. I know maybe I needed the push, whatever it is. But anyhow, Alvin, I appreciate everything.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. And you know, I wanted to touch on this idea, anyone listening, is that the same mind that created a problem that you're going through right now will very rarely will that same mind get you out of where you are.
Yeah.
So either you're going to read a book if you can't afford a mentor, or you're going to go to a seminar, watch. I mean, today, in today's world, jump on YouTube.
Hey, I was
follow
gonna say,
somebody's.
how about in today's world, you tune into a podcast that I've heard of called Journey to Personal Greatness, hosted by Alvin Brown.
Appreciate that.
Look, I mean, I'm here to speak what I want to speak, but I'm also here to promote other people who, hey, I'll promote the people at the shoulders I'm standing on. So as I say, everybody, you know, get on Amazon, order Alvin's book. Fantastic. You can't go wrong.
Appreciate it.
Follow Alvin on Instagram. I'll put the links in for the Alvin's pages, but it's, well, you can tell them your page is on Instagram so they can follow you there, Alvin.
Appreciate that.
100%.
100%.
Then, you know, and of course the podcast, Journey to Personal Greatness, where you'll get your daily dose of Alvin Brown and his wisdom and his relaxing mellow tones.
Yes.
So,
Double G by Y. I'm here. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
anyhow, so with that, Alvin, you know, I'm going to wrap up, but I can't express again how much I appreciate all you've done for me. I can't express how much I appreciate you joining me. I know I could sit here and keep talking with you and let things just keep going and flowing and flowing. I want to respect your time that you prepare for what you got coming up next later today. But thank you again. I hope I haven't missed anything.
No problem.
If I have, you can let me know later and I'll make sure to add it.
You know, I just want to say, for sure, and I just want to say myself that without people like you supporting people like us, and then whoever is going to support you, you would never be who you are. I would never be who I am. So as much as and if you notice that when you shoot me the accolade over and the compliment, I just take it in and I let it go in and up, because I know it's not mine. I know it's the creator who, you know, whatever you call creator, whatever you're connected to. Yeah, I don't own that. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you. But I know without you, I couldn't do the work or be who I am without someone appreciating it. So it's equal. I don't feel any ego with you telling me what you tell me. I just feel gratitude and knowing that I couldn't be writing that book or being on this show without you supporting that journey. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.